School Board. I will call the meeting to order. And we'll begin, Marla, with roll call.
Bill Schrader.
Here.
Janet Mathis. Here. Earl Wallace.
Here.
Rich James.
Yeah.
Isaac Wallace.
Here.
Scott Walter.
Here. Next up, affirmation of proof of publication of the agenda.
I, Kimberly Johnson, hereby certify that notice of the Kickapoo Area School District, January 14th, regular school board meeting was published in accordance with state law.
Thank you very much, Kim. I'll entertain a motion then to approve tonight's agenda.
So moved. I'll second.
Motion by Earl, second by Bo to approve. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We have an agenda. Thank you, everybody. Audience to visitors and board members. And again, tonight we've got a singular student council rep. You must be something special.
Mr. Officer.
Go ahead.
I'd like me to go ahead.
You bet.
All right. Hello, my name is Skylar Hansen, and I'm a member of the High School Student Council. We'll be focused on a variety of specific subject areas and clubs throughout the year to keep the school board updated on the happenings in the classroom and in extracurricular activities. Middle school English and English 8 students are diving into Greek mythology by learning about gods, goddesses, and classic myths before presenting on a chosen deity. They'll then apply that knowledge as they read The Lightning Thief, connecting ancient myths to a modern adventure. Middle school social studies, 6th grade social studies is transitioning from a semester of world history and will begin their semester of US history soon. For high school Englishes, we got 9th grade, kicking off the comprehensive Romeo and Juliet unit. 9th grade, for English 10 literature circles, put students in charge of their reading as they choose their own novels and lead weekly book talks. Beyond just summarizing, students dig into themes, literary elements, and predictions, capturing their thinking through reflective electronic journals. And for college prep English, students are getting hands-on with research by building 100 working cards that bring them closer to their chosen topics. The process encourages smart, ethical AI use while ensuring that their final papers reflect authentic thinking and student voice. For high school social studies classes have been focusing on the 1920s and World War I. And in psychology, they've been focusing on their sleep unit. For high school tech ed students have had time to work on personal independent projects such as metal signs, bookshelves, clothing racks, and desks. For FFA, seniors in FFA will be going to Chicago on January 24th through 26th. We have also wrapped up a successful fruit sale. We were able to donate $300 per family to 3 families who have ties to the Kickapoo FFA during the holiday season. They were Stephen Christensen, Chad and Leah Crook, and Derek Schweiger. We will be soon starting the strawberry sale. For high school art, students have been working on sculptures, acrylic landscape paintings, and wildlife paintings. Business, Intro to Business has been focusing on partnerships and merging of companies. For Phi Ed and Health, high school health has wrapped up their unit on healthy versus unhealthy relationships. The sophomore class ran a successful candle fundraiser. Freshman class, they've been preparing to work some winter concessions to raise money. And for the fishing team, the Kickapoo fishing team competed in a statewide fishing tournament January 11th. The team needed to catch 13 panfish and 7 game fish in an effort to accumulate the most inches of fish possible. The Kickapoo team caught 289.75 inches of fish and placed 12th out of the 45 teams. Highlights included Gavin Goodrich catching a monster 39.5-inch northern pike, Lucas Turkison catching a 17-inch walleye, and Hickson Chug slamming some 9-inch bluegills. That's all it says.
Nice. Thank you, Skylar.
Yeah.
Thanks, Skylar.
Any questions or comments for Skylar? I'll just note that I don't know who the high school English teacher is, but wow.
Yeah.
Incredible stuff.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
Thanks, Skylar. Have a good night.
Good. All right. Nobody else, I guess, Marla? Board members?
I'm not sure if this is the point to ask for it, if we'll have a chance later, but we didn't have a quarterly budget sort of thing on here.
Allison's not quite.
Okay, well, I
There
just
yet.
want to make sure we get that for next month.
Yes.
This is the best anybody can do in light of intense health insurance costs, back-end funding issues that have come up even again. And our loss of state aid, it's probably more important than ever that the board stay informed.
And she's gonna do an insurance update too, I think, or insurance report.
I'm sure it's about time for that.
Yep.
Anybody else? I'll just mention, I don't know if I'm sure word has spread a little bit, but I submitted my non-candidacy papers the end of December. And I just share that this wasn't something I was looking to do, but I've got a new job now that is challenging, big organization, lots of strings tied to it, more travel. And that on top of helping our daughter insert herself into our on-farm family businesses. I've talked to Kim about this over the last, I don't know, half dozen months, that I just am not plugging into the board material the way I really want to, and it's left me feeling like I'm not doing the job I want to be doing on behalf of the school and the staff and the kids and all that. So it's just, it became clear, especially when this new job started to pick up speed, that somebody without those strings attached to their lives could come in and hit a home run, whereas I'm trying to bunt the ball, but I'm bouncing it off my foot and it's going out of bounds. It's a terrible analogy. You know what I'm saying? So enjoy, and will continue to enjoy my time and appreciate the work that everybody does, but it's been aggravating me that I've not been a resource for Kim or advocate for things related to the school that I definitely wanted to be. So anyway. Anything else? All right, we will move on then to expense vouchers and receipts. As usual, a healthy stack to go through. Anybody see anything of note?
I have a couple of questions, but it's not so much on the expenses, that's what they are, and just questions. But page 5 had some couple of DCA direct things that were described as CDL prep. DCA is who was the checks were made out to, but the point is that, and I just guess first I just have to know. CDL prep, to me, CDL is a commercial driver's license. Okay, so we have 2 checks for paying for a number of that there. On the next bottom of the next page and the top of the other, we have a half dozen checks or so to Southwest Technical College for different things. And my question is, I'm on the CISA board too. CISA pay, are these things that are or maybe could be in the youth apprenticeship, the YA, the CISA sponsored, ready for employment stuff? Because CISA pays those, if we're in those, why are we paying, or are we having our own programs for that rather than being in
I
the?
think a lot of those we get a reimbursement rate at the end of the year for the kids who've been involved in those things. And Allison,
Not get it if, I don't know.
right.
Okay.
Yeah, I can double check on that, Janet, with Allison and the specifics of but typically for those kids who are involved in those programs, we can put in for reimbursement at the end of the year.
No,
We get
they find that, well, I don't know. So we do not work with, CISA 3 handles this for many districts in the state that aren't even in our CISA because they are so noted for how they do this. I don't know if they even pay full price to Southwest Tech. Maybe they do. I think it's likely because that's legislated, some of that is. But anyway, my concern was if these are things that should be running through CISA, you won't, I didn't think you would not get credit for those. In fact, you're more likely to get credit for it, probably being part of that.
right. I can double check
We
with,
wouldn't get stuff.
but we work
Kids
pretty
drop
closely with
classes,
Tom.
We have to pay.
right. We work pretty closely with Tom Martin on those things as far as anything that we can get reimbursed for, or
Well, I'm
not even be
getting
reimbursed.
I'm
But
talking about
that-
using their program.
That
So
they-
if we're not being reimbursed, they're
Okay. Yeah, I can definitely,
I know that there are checks that go out to schools
Right.
every month and we seldom are in that list.
Mhm,
And when we are, we typically don't get reimbursed like others to the rate that others do,
right,
dollar amount. But I know why that is. It's
Yeah.
the same reason that Weston is, and it's the same reason that some of them down on the state line are.
mhm,
We're the farthest away and we just
right.
don't. But anyway, yeah, if you would just kind of.
Yeah, I can double check, but, yeah, I think we're utilizing everything we can for them to pay for everything that we can, but can double check.
Thank you.
Thanks, Janet. Anything else? I just had a question, not related to any of the expenses, but I noticed a couple students dropped the Southwest Tech classes. Was there a reason? Just time challenging? Was it any dissatisfaction with the?
I don't think any dissatisfaction with anything. And again, I don't know the exact specific class, but there's a variety of things that sometimes come up with kids and scenarios and situations.
Yeah. Thank you.
Well, the courses, I can tell you too by looking at what the courses were. He's exactly right. It's courses that get dropped by a lot of kids because there's like the diversity studies and intro psych. I mean, you remember freshman year in college,
Mhm.
what classes got dropped? Yeah.
The 8 AM classes.
And these could be that too. I don't know.
All right, if no further questions or discussion, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second. Motion by Janet, second by Earl to approve tonight's expense vouchers and receipts. All in favor? Aye. Thank you, Rich. Opposed? Rich, I'm starting to suspect you're just sitting out there on Hankins Road watching basketball. Where are you at tonight?
Nope. Well, no, I was hoping to be home this week, but we had an organization that's doing a big assessment on us, and they were afraid there might be another government shutdown at the end of the month, so they moved their assessment up a week. So I had to cancel my trip and stay here. So I got back to Hawaii on 28th December, and I will not be back until 25 February.
Holy cow.
Yeah, I'm
Hey.
the lead for this whole thing, so it's just a lot.
I hear you.
Amen.
Okay. All right, we'll move on to the consent agenda tonight. Items included, minutes from the December board meeting, annual payment for use of the community building, WIA cooperative team agreement, renewal of the sponsorship agreements for boys and girls wrestling, and a number of donations, which I want to step through as usual. $250 from Terry Evan Schmidt for the lunch program. $250 from the Reedstown EMS for the music program. Linda Bowers donated $250 for the lunch program. Vernon Electric, $1,000 from their Federated Youth Foundation to the Sea Perch program. And that contains or includes a matching $1,000 from CoBank.
Couple that I saw today that I just got in. One was $250 from the Sanford family to FFA. And the other one, or $250 from the Sanford family, and then $200 from the Jerome and Sandy Durst family for FFA.
Oh, fantastic. Thanks for mentioning those, Marla. Any,
I asked a question, and Bo asked me this the other day, and I guess I kind of just assume, but the more we get these lunch program donations, I'm just curious how that's used,
Yeah.
to, offset, and because I know there's funding for families that don't have, meet requirements or have certain requirements to pay. What is the money when we get donations like that go to?
I think Marla and Melissa really sit down together and look at outstanding balances, those who have an outstanding balance for a long time. They've made a lot of different communications to the families and kind of understand the dynamics. So they try to split evenly, or I guess you can
So it
comment.
goes into the Feed the Student Fund, and we just, right before Christmas, did almost $1,000. And then Melissa and I will probably revisit that this spring and kind of look and see, you know, maybe there's a family struggling that she knows the family and their situation. So I work a lot with her. So
Do those families like to not qualify them for the reimbursement then?
some do not,
Yeah.
some do, but yet there still is a balance that accumulates.
Yeah.
That's an important question because there are programs, and again, you guys know this, where your number of free and reduced is what qualifies you for participation or affects your amount of funding.
Mhm.
So it's important that we still get people to apply and make sure they understand how much that helps the district. You know, we'll,
And I think Marla
I think
doesn't.
Marla does a good job.
we want our kids to all have lunches.
And there are some
helps us.
Some have applied and they just did not fit into the income level.
Oh, I'm sure there's,
So they're right on the line
Yep.
and stuff, and it's just, yeah, and there's times where families just get into a hard spot. And so Melissa kind of knows that, and we just try to take care of who we can, so.
And Marla's really good when she sends out those communications to include that application and to encourage that.
at least Christy always did.
At least twice.
Yeah.
I get it at least twice. I mean, so.
And there are families that would qualify that just won't.
Right.
Yeah, you know.
And then can, and if they fill out the paperwork to qualify, they don't have. Hey,
No, they don't.
they don't, and it would still help us, but they will not fill out. the paper. And they haven't for
Years.
30 years.
At 30. They're still getting kids in their school. 13%.
Well, thanks, but I just, you know, I hear that every month and it's.
It's
good
not
to-
just sitting in there, we're.
Yeah, I assume
Yeah.
as much, but.
Yeah.
Good, just hear.
Anything else? Good question, Isaac. Do I want to make a motion to approve?
Can I make one other comment before we do? On the notes, it says the annual payment for the community building, it says paid 800 last year. So I'm assuming on the agenda where it just says annual payment for community building, or for community building use, we're saying $800.
Unless
That's a
you go higher.
Okay, that's fine. I just make sure the minutes actually show that amount, not as that amount paid last year.
No, it will, it will. I just put that in there in case you guys wanted to change it. That way you knew what we were last year. So if you
However,
wanted to
normally
change it,
if you're asking if we want to change something, it probably shouldn't be in consent, just FYI. So anyway, no problem. 800, I find it. Yep.
I guess I'll make a motion to do the consent agenda.
I'll second it.
Motion by Isaac, second by Earl to approve tonight's consent agenda. All in favor? Aye.
Bye.
Opposed? Motion passes. We're down to the action agenda, nicely short tonight. First is to determine open enrollment space availability for next school year. And the recommendation is that no new special ed students can enroll due to space and a limit of 50 students per grade level. With an addendum, right, from Katie?
Right, so basically, we want to be stating that there are 0 spaces available. But by leaving it at just that, it prevents the board from approving any alternative applications. So to provide the most protection for our currently attending students or siblings who may qualify for special ed, not upon arrival. We need to include a specific and not necessarily a guarantee, but a preference, I think was stated in our motion. So rather than just solely on stating 0, if we use the numbers and do not explicitly vote to guarantee or provide preference to those kiddos, we may legally need to deny those spaces to those siblings. And I think we wanted to be sure that we can continue to take care of those families who are open enrolled here. Should we have that space time available to those kiddos instead of just a hard no or a hard denial. So with the communication from DPI, And Katie, I think, reached out to a couple other districts. It was decided that that was really important to add in our board minutes. Because should we have an appeal, DPI would go directly to the board minutes to determine the approval of that appeal or not. So that just really is a protective layer for our students and for us to really determine should we have any kind of type of fluctuation that those open enrolled kiddos could remain here at Kickapoo. And that was standard kind of throughout several of the districts. And I know that my superintendent meetings on Mondays with the Vernon County, this topic has been discussed, you know, and nobody wants to necessarily turn anyone away unless it's really at a point where we just didn't have the service or, you know, the funding really for the extent of it. So this is what the DPI guidance suggested, and then additionally kind of Katie seeking out and finding out that other districts are too, including that phrase, just as a protection.
So they've given us quite a bit more leeway, because we used to actually have to set sizes for.
Well, and I think we still have to do that. We have to do that per grade level, so it's the 50. And
Okay.
then
But we don't have, that's not in this motion or anything, but we have that as a separate agenda item somewhere along the line.
yeah.
Okay. We used to, so I'm assuming
Yeah,
I don't know, this is January, we can't.
It says the 15th.
it does say 50 in here, doesn't
Where
it?
are you looking? Yes, I'm not.
It's along with the no spaces, I thought it was.
Okay, well, we have an email that came today, and we have
That was the-
what's on the
Okay.
agenda. What's on the email doesn't. I don't know, doesn't.
So the way I read the
So
email,
what's
Katie
it actually
submitted
gonna
that
say, I guess,
later as kind of an
Yep,
addendum.
add to it. Yes,
So,
so it's an addition to what's already on in the notes.
So I guess then we would probably verbally say then, if it's not written in there, our limit is 50 students per grade level. And then we would have a 0 space for the special education open enrollment, providing that additional with the preference to those who are already attending Kickapoo. And that is kind of what would be specifically in the minutes, is the 50 per grade level.
Like the other just says, subject to space and preference to families already established in the district, but that would not have in the past. And I don't know, I don't remember specifically, except that several years back, I know we wanted to say something like that, and they said, we can't be that general, you have to be more. Whatever, but then if you're gonna add this to it, you're just confusing me. She doesn't.
Yeah, well, and that was what was suggested, was the 0 spaces for anyone new to apply for open enrollment. We really don't have the special ed spacing.
Right,
Spaces
right.
available.
Yep.
Should we have and I think it's
Should there be an opening, preferential
there-
treatment would be given to.
preference.
Right.
Well, and also protect you that if you have a third grader that all of a sudden, if you have a family that is open enrolled in, correct me if I'm wrong, that has 5 kids here, and then the little brother ends up where he gets the 3rd grade and he has an IEP.
Right.
You're not kicking out all 5 kids.
Right,
You have a
and
preference to say that we will keep them here, and then you keep all 5 kids. That's how I understand Katie's.
Yeah.
To protect, so you don't have to tell the family, all 5 kids have to go.
right,
Well, the ones that are already here come back anyway, they don't.
I mean, they don't have an IEP.
So it's not, but they don't. They're not the ones you're counting that you.
I think I ran
the ones
into
that are
this
in
last
there,
year.
right.
Yeah, there was a family of 4 or 5 and
We have run into it where someone in a family couldn't come.
right,
which was
and then they
unfortunate,
had
but-
determined that they would probably take all of the kids to keep them together. So this is just that protective layer.
I know what we want to do, and I fully agree with you. I just can't. I just don't know that.
well, let's do what we want and assume that Kim's feedback from other districts and DPI has.
Do we know what they actually wrote though? We see.
I think, and I know exactly where you're coming from, Janet, and I think why Katie put that in there, because when we did that before, we didn't have anything like this written to say we could do that. So we would have been in a situation where, you know what I'm saying, where if we would have done that and not had this written, we couldn't, where now if we have this written, in that case, someone can't say, well, you didn't take my kid, but you took their kid. We can say, well, they have 4 other kids here. So they had that part because they were already in the district. But yes, we didn't have that written before. So that would have put us in a situation where to a liability with that. But I think having written this, and Kim, I know you said you had checked with WASB that that's the language that we could
It's not
put.
so much, you know, it has an IEP. I mean, there's a lot of kids that have an IEP that don't need very much, if any. I mean, they need something, but if all they need is speech therapy, say, just for example, they get that a couple times a week or whatever it is. I mean, if we're not accepting any new special ed students, any new, and to me, I'm not having the background you guys do. That sounded fine, but now if that's anybody that has an IUP, I mean.
Yeah,
That's kind of how we have.
Typically, we're not, I mean,
Like we have 0 spaces.
right, with
Yeah,
case
that's what we can-
load right now where things are at, yeah,
Okay.
there's.
All right, that's
Yeah.
what needs to be.
I just read this as Katie trying to protect families that a kid pops up that needs an IEP.
Well, I'm for that, so.
So who wants to frame that as a motion? Any clear, concise, less than 8 words.
I'm still not convinced that these two things put together say what you guys described though. I mean, I think I hear Janet, it's like. Still seems like this is saying that we're giving preference for those first seats, the people that are here, that's. Yeah. I don't know if we want to take another stab at running that out or. I don't know how we best do that, because right now I don't know that this says what you guys are saying. I read those two things together. Or do we just pick it up and say there are,
Yeah, and Marla, maybe that's the best way to do it would be to actually rewrite that whole thing, but I guess I would read it to say recommend that no new spec ed students can enroll due to space and a limit of 50 students per grade level, with to note that enrollment decisions are subject to capacity, or actually wouldn't even put capacity, just that preference may be given to families established within the district for special ed enrollment. But I see what you're saying, Isaac, where it says the 0 and then it says
it's
the,
still kind of.
But it is still subject to capacity too, because you get
Yeah.
50 students, like, so.
how about, whatever would say this, recommend that no new spec ed students can enroll due to space and a limit of 50 students per grade level. If
With consideration.
with consideration, if a spot is open, preferential treatment will be given to students already enrolled in the district.
Families.
To
Say
families already-
preferential, to say preference.
Not preference will be given to families already enrolled in the district. Would that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah, I think if you guys can form that sentence, I make
Yeah.
that motion as.
Yeah, it's got,
roughly
because
defined.
Yeah.
that way it's not double negative, so to speak, affiliate. Yeah, that would make sense.
So say that again, Aaron, and then somebody. But Aaron,
I just made the motion to adopt what he said.
all right,
We have it on,
that's
we
good.
have it recorded somewhere, right?
Yeah.
She can go back and.
You got that, Marla?
They got preference
Sometimes
maybe
it's
given
fine.
to families that are already in the district.
Yes.
Make sure that part's. I think that's. part-
So we have a motion. Do we have a
I'll
second?
second it.
Motion by Isaac, second by Bo. To approve Aaron's well-worded motion. All in favor? Aye.
Hi.
Opposed? Motion passes. We'll move on then to the last action agenda item, the school calendar. Hard to believe we're already looking at 26/27. And this is in your board packet, any significant changes from this year's calendar?
Nope, and this was actually, we kind of reviewed it last month. And the 2 weeks at Christmas, I think, and then
It's almost exactly the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Almost to the date.
They have like the 2 days in June. This year ends a lot. This year ends a lot better than this next year will,
Yeah, but that's, yeah,
just due to the way the calendar worked out.
Yeah.
And it's
so 1 and 2.
that last week. Like,
It will be regardless of whenever.
yeah, I know.
Well, yeah, and a lot of schools actually have school on the, well, I shouldn't say a lot, but several of the calendars that I've seen have school on the 1st and 22nd of December, and that's maybe out there getting.
I know we had a lengthy discussion a year ago or so about required student days, et cetera.
Yep.
So I'm glad we did that because that allowed some options. Explored. Nice job here. The only comment I make, and this is extremely biased, is, and I don't know what percentage of our students hunt, but I look at, you know, the Thanksgiving week. And man, if we just could get Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday morning off, we'd have the entire 9-day year season.
What kids you think we can bring in with that?
Well,
Like a DNR.
You go for that.
So schools up north do that. Hardly any of them have school that week.
yeah, I mean, it is something that's, but again, I don't know.
When I.
40 years ago, probably 60% of the students hunted. Now I don't, it's
Yeah, it's not that.
so. But just a thought. All right, then, any other,
I'll make a motion up for the account.
thank you, Bo and Earl, motion by Bo, second by Earl to approve next year's calendar. All in favor? Aye,
Aye.
opposed? Motion passes and we're able to move on to our informational agenda, which is similarly light. One item, schedule a couple of committee meetings, a policy committee and building grounds and transportation. So starting with the policy committee, do you have a recommended time frame, Marla?
And that's just something, I sent out kind of the, items that we have for an agenda right now to kind of just start thinking about what will work, because I know like with Isaac coaching. So I guess if we didn't do it today, I mean, just to let you know, we need to schedule something. I don't know if you guys want to do it tonight. And, I mean.
Can policy go at 6:00 before the next meeting?
It could.
And
And then Isaac, you're building and grounds, you got practice.
Yeah.
Yes.
I want to go
So you
at
might-
time. It probably conflicts with his time.
What do you think?
Want to try to do it this month still?
Yeah, and I can make 6:00 on the 10th work. For policy.
Okay.
What time is your practice done? Is it 7 or 7:30 normally? It gets done at 7:30. That's what I thought. You want to do a 7:30 after like one of your practices, just because you're here? You get that? You want to do it after the board meeting? No, I'm just saying, no, your practices. After one of your practices. Well, that's a late night for. So if we need to get any staff, and it just feels really late, I think we should try to do something right after school sometime, maybe it would be better. Just, then yes. That's what I said. Yours. I'm conflicting with you, so.
You just tell me what time you think you want, and then I'll work around you, maybe. I'm fast, it snowed all day and,
I mean, if it worked right after, I mean, do we need, who else needs to be here for the building grounds?
That's, you, Earl and Bo.
I know, but
Troy.
do we need Troy here?
Yeah.
Time to stay after
Just
school?
the middle.
If I was just saying, thinking something like that might be better, so you guys don't have to make a separate trip back. So.
Yeah.
And we could do that on a Wednesday would be fine. Any Wednesday would work for the most part, except for next week.
28th at 3:30.
I could do that. Well, yeah, I think 3:30 would be the best time for.
Yeah,
He wants to get out of school early anyway, so.
that, I think that should work.
3:30.
January 28th.
What's that? Oh, yeah.
Okay, both meetings are on the books then. We'll Move on to superintendent's report. Yeah.
Okay, well, first of all, I'd like to start out by saying thank you to a really incredible board for all of your efforts to impact student learning and student success. And over on the table, we all got you a little something, so you'll have to grab that. Additionally, staffing updates, we did hire a new custodian. We welcomed Matthew Teller to our team, and he has made an excellent impression in a very short time. The staff feedback has been overwhelmingly positive, noting his strong work ethic, his attention to detail, and his really positive personality. I too had the opportunity to speak to Matthew to find out how it was going, and he shared that he is actively trying to convince his family to move to the area so that his grandchildren can attend Kickapoo. They're from California. So we are really grateful for him and appreciate the high standards he brings.
Yes.
What time does he work then?
He's
9 to
9 to 5:30.
9 in the morning,
Yeah.
5:30.
So community, kind of some regional updates. I had gotten and have made the staff aware, but I will make you aware also. Bob Micah was in and shared the 765 kV transmission information meeting. And then additionally, the Westby Forum on Empowering Education. That will be January 27th from 6:30 to 8:30. The area superintendents have a little 3-minute spiel presentation along with an area pastor and the director of CISA 4 and Jeff Ivey of the Rural Schools Alliance. So I think just really trying to help support and that understanding about educational funding and bringing some transparency to that anyway. I did kind of spend some time trying to compile, and I'll just maybe hand this out if you want to grab one and go. This was the information that I did receive from that survey. So the first page there kind of shares some of the graphs that are a part of that form. And then I pulled some of that information together to kind of bring some key takeaways, which I put on the next page, and we'll continue to kind of work with this. Overall, the data reflects a strong support for the school and appreciation for staff relationships and pride in our Kickapoo community. Some of these highlights will be presented on January 26th at our in-service meeting to the staff and kind of help connect the feedback to their work and then how we can continue to finish the year and set some more goals. This week, we have begun our annual meetings with our insurance partners to review and confirm some of the benefits and service options that are afforded to us. On January 26th, we will also be meeting with Janice to review our insurance rates, trends, and potential options moving forward. The January 26th in-service will include, we're going to do an all-staff meeting where I'll present this information. We'll go over and review some of the different safety standards since that's a high priority. And then we have WEA coming in to talk about preparing for retirement and investments to have that financial literacy in front of our staff. And then for those not trained in CPR, we will have Trish Hugeson set that up, our CPR coming in to train staff. And then the rest of the afternoon is basically with working in the classrooms and as a staff with each principal. Looking ahead, then what we'll start on is really getting that updated enrollment data and starting some projections that we can pull and review with enrollment. Also pulling in some more staffing projections and understand for sure kind of what people have been deciding or reflecting on, kind of analyzing that whole model. So the enrollment and staffing needs. And I will bring this information to the board on the February meeting to have a clear understanding of what that looks like once we have more of those numbers fully confirmed and validated. So January has just been a month of planning and reflection and preparing, grounding in some strong staff relationships, as we do have some staff who are facing some challenges in this new year. Thoughtful use of the data that we are compiling, and really some community engagement and trying to bring awareness to our community. So that's all I have at this time, unless there are any questions.
Anything for Kim?
I think I handed out that paper, but I did kind of summarize what the data that was taken away. But when you have more time to just kind of review and think about some of the different things, I compiled kind of per the survey what the portrait of a Kickapoo graduate looks like according to how they responded to the survey. And some of the things that really rose to the top were a critical thinker and a communicator, a person of character, a collaborator, and a contributor, and then just being prepared for life beyond Kickapoo. So then I just really reflected on what our commitment can be, and it's to ensuring that every student is known, they feel valued and supported academically, socially, and emotionally in this crazy world. So they graduate prepared not just for the next step, but for their life. And then under each one of those categories in that other sheet, what a Kickapoo graduate is, I've listed some notes underneath each one about what that potentially reflects. And we will have further conversations with the entire staff to really talk about the meanings of this community survey, this voice that we are bringing in, and how that's reflected and how that's communicated out. I guess just bringing more and showing more of that accountability in the benefits that matter most to our community. So we'll continue to work with that, and I will bring more information on this and kind of how we're going to move forward with this information and this data. But I wanted to give you kind of the first looks and kind of what I've pulled without really bringing it to the staff to get their thoughts and perspective on it. So now I'm actually really.
All right, hard to believe, but we are at the end of the semester already. So with that comes the end of the semester finals. We have finals next Wednesday and Thursday. And then we transition into a new semester schedule. With that as well, Andy gets to be a fun part of this too. We're testing season again coming up. And so the actual tests don't really get rolling until later in March, but just there's always something new and preparation and making sure the kids are in and new kids move in and all that stuff. So we'll be working on that. As everybody knows throughout the years, and I've done them for, I think this will be the 15th, 14th year, senior exit interviews, which are always really good to do. I have done the two with early graduates already, and it's always great. I think getting to know kids throughout their years here, just to see how they grow and when they get to that senior exit interview. And you know, with many of them, there's an individual situation that they've had, or you know, a couple, and to ask like, how do you look back on that? You know, what do you think, or how do you reflect on that now? And you know, I think it's just a really good growth opportunity for them. It also is really an element of looking at the survey that Kim did, just a reflection of that to really kind of get some feedback and find out where kids are at and thoughts they have. With that and kind of an offshoot, and Mrs. Eggy's really done a great job here the last couple of years. She's started a senior panel. So we have former graduates that come back, and so they talk to all the seniors. So we just had that happen the other day. So there's a number of questions that they go through of, how this works in college and things they would look back upon and do. So that's always great to see those kids come back, and then we can actually follow up with some of that feedback of where things are at once they've been out in the real world. So that's been a real positive thing. And the last one, and I don't think it's ever happened in school history, but as of right now, our boys basketball team is ranked #1 in the state, which is a pretty awesome and amazing thing. So tomorrow night, we play North Crawford and they are ranked #2. So it's not too often that you have two teams in the same conference that are ranked #1 and 2 and will go. So we hope it will go well. But again, I think, anytime basketball is always a big thing and lots of hype in the community and things. And it's been really cool to see people in the community that I haven't seen in a lot of years show up at games and be there. And I'm here, I want to check them out, and so I think that's good. So hopefully the boys continue to roll and one win at a time and hopefully get somewhere good.
Exactly. Brandon was giving me a hard time in one of our online meetings stating that when Crawford wins, that I was coming to school with maroon and dyeing my hair. And so we have to win. For many of you.
Because of the weather, we didn't have our holiday program till after our last board meeting. So shout out to Mr. Smith and Mrs. Miller for everything they did. And if you tried to park that day,
Yeah.
the bus was very, very well attended and kids did a really nice job. For Act 20, we started all the Ames testing Monday, and Sherry was a big help with the kindergarten and first graders, and I will have the second graders finished up tomorrow, and then we'll have Pat and see what plans I have to do, if any. The same time, the classroom teachers are doing the fast bridge testing, so we'll have some data and I can start digging in a little bit and see if the stuff that we're trying to do is paying off. And along those lines, tomorrow, Amy Mathis and Amy Clements are going to go to a conference at CISA about different math instruction and stuff that we can pull and start to use. So short and sweet. That's kind of what's been going on.
Even the staff did a pretty good job.
Some of them did.
All on video if you need a copy.
That's that guy in the county. They did pretty.
That's Lucas. He did a good job. I had somebody question my milking skills. I'm like, that's the one thing I know how to do. I am more than capable.
Any questions for Andy, Aaron, or Kim? All righty, thank you all. We'll move then into closed session pursuant to State Statute 19.85. With a couple allowances tonight, considering employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility. Additionally, conferring with legal counsel for the governmental body who's rendering oral or written advice concerning strategy to be adopted by the body with respect to litigation in which it is or is likely to become involved. Purposes: administrator contract rollovers for the next biennium, girls wrestling, cheerleading coach, volunteers, boys basketball coach, and an insurance request.
Move we convene to close session on those second.
Motion by Janet, second by Earl to convene to close session. Roll call, vote please, Milo.
Janet Mathis,
Yes.
Earl Wallace,
Yes.
Rich James,
Yes.
Isaac Wallace, Bo Schrader,
Yes.
Scott Walter.
Yes. Okay, coming out of closed session, we have a few motions to act on.
Make a motion that we roll over the contracts for Kim Johnson, Aaron Beckham, and Andy Lipsky. 26, 27, 27, 28 school year.
I'll second that.
Motion by Earl, second by Janet to roll over the three administrator contracts. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Make a motion to, I think that's the next one, yeah. For girls wrestling cheerleading coach. And the boys, two in that, I must say. For Aaron Kelly with prorated on what part of the season still left.
I'll second that.
Motion by Earl, second by Isaac to approve the volunteer boys basketball coach and the wrestling
He just,
cheerleading coach.
Just
he
wrestling.
just did.
Just wrestling.
Oh, sorry.
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 Boys wrestling girls, not just the girls, so.
Just leave it at wrestling.
Wrestling. All in
Then we'll
favor?
Make sure we communicate.
Aye. Opposed?
And motion to approve Louis Ludwig as a volunteer boys basketball coach.
Second.
Motion by Earl, second by Isaac to approve Louis Ludwig as the boys basketball volunteer coach. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. One last motion to roll out tonight.
Make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Vote with your feet. Thanks, everybody.